Every year, automakers promise bigger, smarter, and more luxurious SUVs. But the 2026 GMC Yukon might just push the boundaries further than anyone expected. From a redesigned interior that feels more like a high-end lounge than a family hauler, to tech features usually reserved for luxury brands twice the price, GMC clearly wants this Yukon to stand out in a crowded full-size SUV market. But is it truly a game-changer, or just another refresh dressed up as something new? Let's find out if the Yukon really delivers, or if it leaves us wanting more. The GMC Yukon has long been one of America's go-to full-size SUVs, big, bold, and built for families who want space, comfort, and capability all in one package. Now, with the arrival of the 2026 model, GMC is making some serious moves to keep the Yukon ahead of rivals like the Chevy Tahoe, Ford Expedition, and Jeep Wagoneer. This isn't just a simple refresh. It's a clear statement that GMC wants the Yukon to feel more premium, more high-tech, and more competitive in a market where buyers expect luxury-level comfort alongside rugged practicality. From the outside, the new Yukon makes a strong first impression. But it's the inside and under the hood where things really get interesting. GMC has promised big upgrades in technology, design, and performance, but as always, the question is whether those promises hold up once you see the details. So, what exactly makes the 2026 Yukon different? And does it do enough to justify attention over its rivals? In just a moment, we'll break down the design, the cabin experience, the tech features, and, most importantly, whether this SUV still delivers the right balance of value and capability for today's buyers. Now let's take a closer look at what the 2026 GMC Yukon actually brings to the table. Because on paper, this SUV is packed with updates that matter to families, commuters, and road trippers alike. First impressions always start with design, and the Yukon doesn't hold back. The front fascia is bold, with a grille that feels wider and more sculpted than ever. It's not just about size, it's about presence. The sharp LED headlights give it a more upscale, almost luxury SUV vibe, while the subtle chrome touches remind you that this isn't trying to hide its premium ambitions. Now let's take a closer look at what the 2026 GMC Yukon actually brings to the table, because on paper, this SUV is packed with updates that matter to families, commuters, and road trippers alike. First impressions always start with design, and the Yukon doesn't hold back. The front fascia is bold with a grille that feels wider and more sculpted than ever. It's not just about size, it's about presence. The sharp LED headlights give it a more upscale, almost luxury SUV vibe, while the subtle chrome touches remind you that this isn't trying to hide its premium ambitions. For families, rear passengers aren't forgotten. Optional rear seat entertainment screens and USB-C ports everywhere keep everyone connected. Now, performance is where things start to raise eyebrows. The Yukon offers multiple powertrains, including an efficient turbocharged option and the tried-and-true V8 for those who want muscle. GMC claims improved fuel economy across the board. But here's the twist. Early tests suggest the turbo option might surprise buyers who assume bigger always means better. Smooth, confident acceleration and quieter operation could make it the sleeper pick in the lineup. But is it strong enough for towing and heavy loads? We'll get to that in just a moment. Safety and driver assist features also take a step forward. You've got adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, blind spot monitoring, and even GMC's Super Cruise hands-free driving system available on higher trims. That's a big deal, especially when road trips are part of the Yukon lifestyle. But, as with all advanced systems, the question is, does it work as seamlessly as advertised? Or does it still have quirks you'll notice in everyday driving? And then there's the price. GMC hasn't been shy about pushing the Yukon toward premium territory, especially on higher trims. But before we talk numbers, the real question is, do the upgrades in design, comfort, and tech justify the added cost? Or is this SUV creeping dangerously close to luxury brand pricing without fully crossing the line? Stick around, because in the next section we'll break down the biggest highlights that truly make the Yukon shine, and the drawbacks that might give you second thoughts before signing on the dotted line. And here's where things get really interesting, the moment you actually put the 2026 GMC Yukon to the test. On the road, the first thing you notice is just how smooth it feels for such a massive SUV. The suspension soaks up bumps like they barely exist, giving you the comfort of a luxury cruiser, yet it never feels sloppy in corners. For families planning long highway drives, that balance is a game changer. But the real surprise? The turbocharged engine. Most people expect the V8 to dominate, but the turbo option holds its own with quick, confident acceleration and noticeably quieter performance. It's almost shocking to feel a Yukon this responsive without the constant roar of a big block engine. Of course, the V8 is still the towing king, but the fact that the smaller engine doesn't feel like a compromise could change how buyers look at this SUV. Inside, the highlights are undeniable. Seating comfort is excellent, the cabin feels spacious and upscale, and the tech is some of the best we've seen in this class. Super Cruise, when it works as intended, feels futuristic and makes highway driving almost effortless. But that's the catch: when it works. In real-world use, there are still times where it struggles with lane changes or heavy traffic, reminding you this technology isn't perfect just yet. And then there's the price. A well-equipped Yukon can climb deep into luxury territory, and at that point, buyers may start cross-shopping with Cadillac or even European brands. So the big question becomes, is the Yukon offering true luxury value, or is it just getting expensive? Because that's the turning point. This SUV impresses in ways you might not expect, but it also forces you to weigh whether the upgrades are worth the premium. And that's exactly what we'll uncover in the final verdict. So after spending time with the 2026 GMC Yukon, here's the bottom line. This SUV proves GMC isn't just keeping up, it's pushing harder into premium territory. The bold exterior design, refined interior, and improved tech put it right up there with some luxury rivals, while still holding on to the space and capability that made the Yukon a household name in the first place. The pros are clear. A cabin that feels both comfortable and upscale, a surprisingly strong turbocharged engine option, and advanced features like Super Cruise that hint at the future of driving. Add in plenty of passenger space and family-friendly touches, and the Yukon remains one of the most versatile full-size SUVs you can buy. But it's not perfect. The price climbs quickly as you move up trims, and that raises tough questions when you're only a few $1,000s away from a Cadillac Escalade. Plus, while Super Cruise is impressive, it still has real-world quirks that mean it's not quite the flawless hands-free experience some buyers might expect. So who's this SUV really for? If you're a growing family that needs space, power, and comfort all rolled into one, the Yukon still delivers. If you want a taste of luxury without jumping straight into Cadillac or European territory, the upper trims will satisfy. But if budget is top of mind, you'll want to shop carefully, because a few options can easily push this Yukon out of reach. Overall, the 2026 Yukon is a strong reminder that GMC knows its audience and isn't afraid to challenge expectations in the full-size SUV game. The question now is, does it offer the right balance of premium and practical for you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Is the new Yukon worth the price, or would you look elsewhere? Don't forget to hit like if this review helped you, subscribe for more deep dive car reviews, and ring the bell so you don't miss what's coming next.